When you examine the largest, most stable, most profitable, fastest growing companies in the world, what all do they have in common? So like, let's think about companies like Apple, like Google, Netflix, Disney, right? You guys get the idea. But what do these companies have in common? And do the things that they have in common that make them successful, is there a way to use that on the micro scale? Right? Obviously, they're big companies and they have this on a macro scale. They have big brands, at least the companies that I just mentioned. But is there a way to bring that down to the level where somebody that wants to start a business, or an entrepreneur, or somebody that has an existing business can apply to their business to then have success in business using the principles that big businesses use? And so how can you use the same principles in your life and business to become more profitable and more impactful, grow faster, and just succeed overall? Take the principles from these big businesses that are already successful, apply them to yourself and your business, and how can you use them to separate yourself from the rest? There's a question that has to be asked. Are you willing to become the person that will do the things that it takes to apply these principles? And that's a question that all of us have to answer individually. I think that this is a big question, and I think it's a question that I can't answer for you. You will have to answer that for yourself. But here's what I will do. I'm going to go through 3 things today. I'm going to cover 3 things that I think personally are what separate those businesses from the rest. And if you stick around, I think number 3 to me is the most important, or one of the most important. I've kind of built my whole business around it. And not that we haven't built our business around all 3, but we've definitely built our business around number 3. And I think that it's a major game changer for everybody. So let's jump in. So the first thing that I think has a big impact on businesses is simplicity, especially in the beginning. I know that there are complex businesses out there that are successful, but simplicity is something that you can't overstate the importance of. Why? Well, first off, as business owners and entrepreneurs, we try to overcomplicate things, and we try to be all things to all people. And so if you break down business principles, the first thing you want to do is find out who is it that you want to serve. Okay. So you find what we call an avatar. This is, the person that was like, for me personally, when it comes to this program, our YouTube channel, I'm looking for young men, usually between the ages of 18 and 35, who are entrepreneurial and looking to start a business, right? So I have this avatar that I have in mind of people that I'm targeting, and that may be you and it may not be you, but that's okay. But the point is that when you have an avatar that you start with, there's a specific thing that you're going to provide to that person. And if you try to be all things to all people, well, I can't even be all things to that demographic, much less all things to multiple demographics. Does that make sense? And so if we overcomplicate things and we try to offer a ton of services or products to a ton of different people, then that's not a recipe for fast success, especially in the beginning. And let me give you an example. So if you think about restaurants, because of selling point of sale systems and payment processing, I deal with a lot of restaurants. I would say about 60% of my personal client base is made up of restaurants. And as such, I've been able over the years to see what makes some restaurants more successful than others. And simplicity is definitely a key component when it comes to restaurant success. And when I say simplicity, I'm talking simplicity in their systems, simplicity in their marketing, and simplicity in their menu. Let's just take menu, for example. If you go to a place like a mom and pop diner, you ever been to those places that have like a fine print of all of a million different items that you can get, and they're open from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and they're just trying to serve everybody everything they could possibly ever want. And that's a difficult thing to do, especially when it comes to keeping all of the ingredients for all of those items and having them cooked to any level of excellence for the customers and so on and so forth. So think about somebody like Chick-fil-A, right? If you wanted a really, really good chicken sandwich, you're going to go look for like a mom and pop diner that has a million different items, which probably just has whatever the food purveyor is selling that year as far as the cardboard chicken patties? Or do you want to go to a place like Chick-fil-A and get the best chicken sandwich, arguably, in any fast food place, right? Which I know that there's chicken sandwich wars, but that's not the point. The point is that if everybody knows what Chick-fil-A serves, right? If you want a cheeseburger, you're out of luck if you're at Chick-fil-A, which is just, a simple concept here. And so which one does better? The mom and pop diner that tries to be all things to all people, or Chick-fil-A? Obviously, in this case, it's Chick-fil-A. I'm not just saying that because they're a big brand. I'm saying that they became a big brand because they were not trying to be all things to all people. They weren't spreading themselves thin, right? Meaning being an inch deep and 3 meters wide. They just said, hey, we want to be 3 meters deep and an inch wide. We want to just do this as best as we can. We want to focus on doing this one thing. And obviously, they ended up being a hit, attracting a lot more people by doing one thing really, really well than they would if they tried to do a ton of things. And so people that I think about is, businesses where they have a service. So let's say like a handyman, right? I recognize that in the handyman case here, that handymen aren't always licensed contractors. And so they do the handyman jobs that maybe the licensed contractors wouldn't want to do. So I get that. But think about handymen that are licensed, right? Maybe they have a plumbing license, an AC license, and a general contractor's license, and all of these things. And they're going around doing all kinds of handyman work for people. Well, when you hear handyman, not everybody's, wants to admit, A, that they're not handy, but B, they also don't have a problem necessarily hiring a plumber for plumbing needs. They're not going to go look for a handyman for plumbing. They're going to look for a plumber. And in the mind, if somebody's a plumber, they're going to be better at plumbing than somebody that's a generalist, somebody that's a handyman. Same thing with an electrician. You want your house to burn down? Call a handyman to do your electrical work, right? People always have, drunk Uncle Bob coming over and doing their electrical work. And then there's horror stories, which is the reason why there's a whole licensing process with the trades anyways. But the idea here is that simplifying your offering and your message so that you can bring a product to market to an avatar is important, because the first step in, let's just call it making $1 million, right, in a year, is to be able to sell something to a group of people. So find a product or service and sell it to a group of people. You'll find that if you can perfect that, then you can add things. You don't want to overcomplicate things, but you can add things after that point. And so simplicity, again, is a big key to success in business. Okay, so number 2 was a focus on customer experience. How do customers feel when they interact with your business? Okay. Again, we started talking about Apple, Google, Netflix, Disney. All of these, have culture centered around them because of the customer experience. So like Apple, for example, does an excellent job with this. I've heard people talk about how they keep the boxes that the Apple products come in for years and don't throw the box away, because there's an experience that comes with this clean white labeling, or the boxes that they come in, and they're sleek, and they have a specific look to them. And so the people, I guess these companies, with the focus on customer experience, it's really that's their brand. Their brand is their focus on the customer experience. If you think about it, that, Apple, Google, again, they definitely simple, a box that you type words into and it gives you back a response of the information that you're looking for. When Yahoo and Ask Jeeves and all these other sites were adding tons of links to their sites and news articles and pictures and all this stuff, and making their front page look super busy, Google came out with just the word Google and a search bar, and that was it. And so because they came out with such a simple product, people were more attracted to it, because when they wanted to search something, they didn't want to wait for the time for the page to load and all these things, and that simplicity helped. That's part of the customer experience. And really, it's the branding is really where it's at, because their brand is their customer experience. Their customer experience is their brand. Now, granted, people that are starting off from scratch, a new business, or even if they're current small business, you don't have the benefit of having a large established brand already. So because of that, you have to focus on your customer experience. When you market based on what the ideal customer experience would be with your product or service. And I think that customer service piece and a focus on the customer experience, think about software. There's softwares that you've used that you had a great experience using, and there's softwares that you've used that you had a horrible experience using. They call that UI, right? User interface / UX, user experience. The user experience is a key component to success in the software industry, because if the people don't enjoy interacting with the software, then they're not going to use it. Bottom line. All right. On to number 3, which I personally think for you as the entrepreneur or business owner, recurring revenue. Some people call this continuity, or some people call this residual income. Recurring revenue is revenue that comes in on a recurring basis. And so recurring meaning over and over and over. So this could be in the insurance industry. They get their renewals every year because people need that insurance. And so a lot of times insurance agents get a residual check on a annual basis for each client. In the payment processing industry, for example, that's a residual business. And so those agents get paid on a monthly basis. Software as a service is another one where people get paid on a monthly basis. And so it's important to look for a business, or if you already have a business, to look for a method to provide your customers with a recurring product or service so that you can produce recurring revenue for yourself. And sometimes this takes discipline, because there's a thought process, I think, when it comes to, say, the time value of money, to want to get paid more upfront. And while I would agree with the time value of money piece, I think when you're trying to build a profitable, stable business, finding a way to create a recurring revenue stream or multiple recurring revenue streams is a key component to peace of mind, and peace of mind brings good decision making and good customer experience, when people are dealing with you. And so that, I think, overall improves the business. I mean, frankly, there's really only 2 ways to increase revenue: acquire more customers, or get your current customers to pay you more or more often. And so when it comes to which one of those things is going to be the easiest path forward, in my view, it is not acquiring more customers, because acquiring customers is usually more expensive and is more difficult, takes more time and resources, than just either raising prices or getting your current clients to pay more or pay more often. And then out of the two, of getting your clients to pay more or more often, I personally think that getting them to pay more often is the easier path forward as well. Because in like the product space, if somebody's taking a supplement, I can tell you, for me, I take a probiotic, and they got me on the monthly, recurring, because if I take it every day, then every 30 days, I'm going to need another bottle. And so they just shoot it right over to me, just as an example. The same thing that you can do in your business, find a way to produce that recurring revenue so that you're not having to go and find new revenue every month. I think about businesses out there that every month they start over from scratch. The bills come every month without fail. Their bills are recurring, the light bill, the rent, or mortgage, or whatever they've got as far as the payroll, whatever they've got as far as bills. But does the revenue come in the same manner? If I think about a retail shop, usually the case is no, right? It doesn't. It doesn't mean that there can't be some way to create recurring revenue, but it just means that there isn't an obvious way built into the business. And so if you can find a way to add recurring revenue into your business, and this is why I think this is the most important. This is the key. I think that it's the most important because instead of starting over from scratch every month, looking for new customers or looking to go and sell something new to your current customers or something more to your current customers, you already have a base of income that's coming in from that recurring revenue. You have an amount that you can count on, that on the 1st of the month or the 15th of the month, or however you bill it out, it shows up every month. And then in the next month, you're looking to sell new ones to stack on top of that. You're not trying to rebuild the house or rebuild the wall over again. You're stacking the new revenue on top of that revenue, which obviously makes for a more enjoyable experience when you're running a business. So all this is great, but the question then is, how do you apply this to your personal situation? Maybe you don't have a business now. You're looking to start one, or maybe you've started a business and you're looking for a way to apply these things. So just as a review, the three things that I think help make businesses more successful, especially when they're starting off. Number one is simplicity. Find something that you can do and deliver in a simple manner that has simple messaging that your customers or your potential customers, your prospects can understand. Focus on the customer experience. Focus on making sure that the customers that receive your product or service are having a good experience with you and with your company. And number three, find a way to produce recurring or residual revenue. Now, the easiest thing to do, I would say, is probably look for a business model that already incorporates all of these three things. In fact, you could do what I had done in the beginning, and that is find a business that already exists and partner with them, and then all you have to do is the sales part. I think this is a secret that like unlocks a door for you, because if you can partner with another company that already has figured out the simplicity, the customer experience, and the recurring revenue, and they're willing to share that recurring revenue with you for bringing them customers, then you can just find a way to market it, and then now you've got all of that kind of bundled in for yourself, because it's the quicker path forward, obviously, to do that. And so I'll tell you what, I actually put together a PDF called The 5 Businesses That Beginning Entrepreneurs Use to Make Their First $1 Million. And each one of these businesses have all three of these items. They have simplicity, they have a focus on customer experience, and they have a recurring or residual revenue component. And so I will give this PDF for you for free. All you have to do is follow the link in the description, and then I'll email it over to you. That way you can review it and you can pick, hey, which one of these businesses do I think would be the best path for me personally, or you personally, right? In this case, to start my entrepreneurial path, or start focusing on my dreams, stop trading my time for money, and start focusing on building something for yourself that lasts. I think it's often. So like I said, it's the 5 businesses that beginning entrepreneurs use to make their first $1 million, and I will give it to you for free. All I need is for you to send me your info. We'll shoot it over to you. And I guess, all right, that's it for now. God bless, and I'll see you on the next one.